It is interesting to note that a province-wide survey by Oracle Poll in 2005 showed that 88% strongly opposed the practice of sport hunting wolves, and more than 70% wanted an end to the practice of baiting and using dogs to hunt wolves. 82% strongly opposed killing wolves in order to sell their pelts. 88% favored having a sustainable wolf management program, as most do not see that enough is currently being done now to manage wolves properly. 74% supported protecting more wolf habitat. A strong majority also wanted bag limits and kills to be reported and closing the spring season when pups are born. We in Canada have the last truly healthy populations of wolves on the planet. The onus is on us to be the caretakers of this species and to protect them. We're exporting our wolves to repopulate areas in the United States, including Yellowstone. And I mean, it's an abomination what they've done to the wolf in the United States. And now we're exporting our Canadian wolves to try and repopulate wolf species all over the world, not just here in Canada or in the United States. In fact, the last time I spoke to Dr. John Tabarish, he and his wife Mary were filming a number of wolf packs in Yellowstone National Park and doing a documentary or conducting a long documentary on the progress of these packs. Therefore, I ask you, if you're willing, to write or email the Honourable Ontario Minister of Natural Resources, the Honourable Donna Cansfield, and tell her how you feel. Tell her that you want to see better protection of wolves, including a total ban on recreational wolf hunting and wolf hunting involving hounds. Suggest to the Minister that this form of barbaric hunting should be outlawed once and for all. Wolf hunting with hounds, there's nothing sporting about it. Now, I'd like to comment on deer populations and their relationship with wolves and coyotes, and again, the larger overall issue of wildlife management. Clearly, there's no doubt that deer populations in parts of Ontario are quite high due to a succession of mild and relatively easy winters, depending on where you live. I know where I live on southern Georgian Bay, we've had record snowfalls over the last couple of years, and it has been particularly difficult on the animal populations, regardless of what it is, up in my neck of the woods. So again, I mean, actually, as of April last year, we had almost 3 feet of snow still left in the bush. So there was a tremendous amount of snow. However, the fact remains that predominantly easy winters, plentiful food sources, and a lack of predators in a number of locations have contributed to very high deer volumes. Wolf and coyote populations will naturally, when allowed to do so, take advantage of this good fortune and thin out the wild ungulate herds as they are supposed to do. As well, in more northerly areas, and depending on geography, you will have predation of deer by bear, lynx, and myriad other predators. But regardless of various factors, the one main reason we have so many deer in certain areas is because of a lack of enough predators, i.e. wolf and coyote. Due to extirpation, killing by humans, followed by disease, and to a lesser extent, fatal accidents of various kinds, etc., there simply aren't enough predators to deal with the overpopulation. And then people complain that there are too many deer after they shoot all the wolves and they shoot all the coyotes. To a degree, it is mostly our own fault. Because of constant human interference, the natural world, in some places more than others, is seriously out of whack. Yet we never seem to get the message that often it's better to take a hands-off approach. Government biologists love to banter around a term that has been used mostly only in wildlife management circles and usually when talking about wolves or other large carnivore species. And it's called minimal sustainable populations. I think somebody knows what I'm talking about out there. Essentially, this means that wildlife managers are graciously willing to let coyotes and wolves have a piece of the prey pie, but only at dramatically lowered levels than which would naturally occur if humans were not interfering. This is, of course, where predator control, wolf and coyote kill programs enter the equation. Fundamentally, this means that wildlife managers will allow wolves and coyotes to exist, but only at unnaturally low or artificially induced levels. Typically, the main driving force behind this initiative, called wildlife manipulation, which is done with your tax dollars, is to provide a special interest group with more game. Please note that when compared with the total population of Ontario, the majority of which are not consumptive users of wild animals, the 130,000 to 250,000 or so hunters, however, I've heard the numbers banded around as high as 300,000, but I believe this might be a gross exaggeration, especially in the province of Ontario. I don't think there's that many hunters here. But anyway, that population makes up a very small percentage of the overall population of Ontario. This begs the question, and this is the crux of the matter. For whom are our wildlife and our wildlands being managed? It would appear that it is being groomed for a politically powerful minority of about 3.8% in Ontario. When you think about it, most would deduce that there's something wrong with this picture. Yet at the same time, not nearly enough are speaking out about it and against it, which allows it to continue. And as far as I know, I believe Dalton McGuinty is going to be opening up quite a number of our provincial parks to hunting and trapping within the next year or so. So it's an issue that I'm certainly not very happy about. I think that our provincial parks should be left alone, period. Frankly, how dare he allow that to happen? Those provincial parks are there for you and you and you, and you're all paying your taxes. So I'd be darned annoyed about it. Anyway, I've said, when you think about it, most people would deduce that there's something wrong with this picture. Yet at the same time, we're not speaking out about it. As well, the media in its various forms is also regretfully and woefully delinquent in its interest in reporting on this issue because of complicity and a potential economic backlash, either in advertising or subscription revenues. It appears that the media treads very lightly in this area, if at all, so as not to offend a sector of the public, and especially in my area. And again, it's allowed to continue without proper address. I'm confident that many would agree that this is unethical wildlife management, and they do not want their tax dollars being used for this kind of nonsense. Therefore, the more people who are made aware of this issue, the better, and that's what I'm trying to do here. Dr. John Taberge, a past professor of biology at the University of Guelph and an individual who conducted a 12-year study of the eastern wolf in Algonquin Park, said to me, and I quote, that wildlife managers are foolish to think that just because a given animal species is riding high on good times and their population is determined to be overly abundant, whether this be wolf, coyote, or any other species, it is not a good enough reason or excuse to start culling large numbers of them artificially. Thus, using this as an excuse to issue more hunting tags, which we all know generates lots of revenue for the government. As a result, by virtue of the monies collected through hunting tags, i.e. wildlife consumption, In effect, the MNR views each and every game species in Ontario as a commercial moneymaker.